Hello and welcome to Practical Christian Lessons. So if you're watching this on the video, we're going to be reading through the Wisdom of Solomon. In January I went through a series of shorts going over the book of Proverbs as sort of like a devotional. And this month we're going to start reading through some of the Apocrypha books. I don't know how many we're going to end up working our way through this year, but we're going to start with the Wisdom of Solomon and see how far we go. What I'm going to do is, and if you watch the short, you already know kind of all this. I'm going to read the NKJV, and I'm going to do what I'm doing right now, which is film one video where I read through the entire thing. I'll put that up on the channel, and then I will try and go through and break that up into shorts to post throughout the day. So maybe you don't want to watch a whole video just going through one chapter at a time. You're interested in more short bits, I'll be there for you. If not, just come to the channel and go through it with me. So we're going to start at chapter 1, as is fitting. That's at 104. I am still a little sick and sniffly as when I recorded the announcement video, so I sound better. I'm in recovery, but that's why my nose is red, so I'm a little sniffly, just so we're all aware. Love righteousness, you who judge on the earth. Think about the Lord in goodness, and seek him with sincerity of heart. Because he is found by those who do not tempt him, and he is manifest to those who do not disbelieve him. For dishonest reasoning separates people from God, and when his power examines someone, it convicts the undiscerning. For wisdom will not enter the soul that plots evil, nor will it dwell in the body involved in sin. For a holy spirit of discipline flees from deceit and sends away undiscerning reasoning. It will put wrongdoing to shame when it comes near. For wisdom is a spirit that loves mankind, but she will punish a blasphemer because of his words. For God is the witness of his thoughts, the true examiner of his heart, and the hearer of his tongue. Because the Spirit of the Lord fills the world, and he who holds all things together knows what is said. Therefore no one who speaks unrighteous things will escape justice, or will escape notice, nor will justice, when it cross-examines, pass him by. For there shall be a close examination into the deliberations of an ungodly man, and a report of his words will come to the Lord. As proof of his lawlessness, for the zealous ears all things, and the noise of murmuring is not hidden. Therefore keep yourselves from useless murmuring, and refrain your tongue from evil speech. For no secret word will go unpunished, and a lying mouth will destroy one's soul. Do not be zealous for death by the deceit of your life, nor bring destruction upon yourself by the works of your hands, for God did not make death, neither does he have pleasure over the destruction of the living. For he created all things that they might exist, and the generations of the world so that they might be preserved. For there was no poison of death in them, nor was the reign of Hades on the earth. For righteousness does not die, but the ungodly summoned death by their words and works. Although they thought death would be a friend, they were dissolved, for they made a covenant with death, since they were deserving to share it in common. And that is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1. Let's put this right here. So, if you're watching the short, I'll have a little blurb on this first one over on the channel. For everyone who's here on the channel, hello. We're just going to work through this book, and since this is sort of the first video in the series, I think it's worth addressing some things that I as a Protestant have heard and deal with all the time, and some of the online polemics that I've really started to draw away from. I think online apologetics, specifically the polemical kind, is really, really bad for the Christian community. I just think it's not worth listening to. It's not worth engaging. It's not worth making in a lot of times. There are places for polemics, right? At times you need to address that you have two different points and that they are in conflict with each other. But the way in which you engage that makes a big difference. It very much feels a lot like the political spectrum in our Western society, where it's just, you're the enemy, and there's no black and white. Or it's all black and white, there's no gray. And one of those things that you'll deal with as a Protestant is, oh, those reformers took books out the canon. Luther hated the book of James. He hated the book of Revelation. It doesn't take much to look into that and just immediately toss it out the window. Luther didn't remove the books. These books that we'll be reading through, the Deutero-Canon, he removed. They were in the appendix still. He didn't change what they were, where they were placed as. His view wasn't novel. It's from the early church. the Reformers looked to the church fathers and their views on the canon, which was as wide and varied as we still have today. The Eastern Orthodox and the Roman Catholics do not have the same view of the canon. The Ethiopian Orthodox do not have the same canon list. The Roman Catholics are the only one of the ecclesial traditions that have a closed canon, and that's only because their council declared it in reaction to the Protestants. They didn't even have an official, infallible canon until after the Reformation had started, and it was as a pure reaction to what the Reformers were doing. So it's a really easy to just poke a holes in that on the just a quick historical look. And I'm going through these books, one, to show that this is not true, that some of these statements that Protestants have just ignored these books and removed them. There are still many Protestants, especially in the Anglican tradition, I've found, but in a lot of the older traditions, and they're luckily starting to make return in some of the more recent Protestant movements, that these books have value, and they're still worth reading, and there's still a lot of good in there. The Wisdom of Solomon especially is one of the most beloved of the Apocrypha books in the entire church history. It might be the most quoted one. I'd be willing to make that bet. It's a beautiful book. A lot of them are beautiful books. They're worth nourishment for the soul. And we didn't just pluck them out the canon. We didn't just toss them out. That's not what happened. They're still valued. They're still treasured. They're still worth in them. That's it. I hope you guys enjoy the series as I go through them. This is as much a way for me to actually start reading through. I've read a few of them, but not all of them, and I want to start going through them all. I guess just a bonus announcement. I'm looking also to start doing readings from some of the primary source materials on Wesleyan Arminianism here on the channel. So like here, I have the complete work of Jacob Arminius. I have 3 volumes. Unfortunately not matching, but maybe one day. But you can also find them free on CCEL. That's where I'm going to link them. They're in the public domain, so I can kind of work through those. There are other books I'd like to read if I can get permission or if it's copyright safe. But for now, we're going with things that we know are safe to go. So you can look forward to more Apocrypha reading. You can look forward to more primary source reading from Wesley, from Arminius. I think there's a lot of good stuff, and I hope it's all enjoyable for you guys. And I will not be as red-nosed and sniffly in the future. So hopefully that will help with my voice if it sounds a little strange at all in this video. With that, you guys have a good day, and God bless.